Welcome to CHILIpulse. CHILIpulse is a space that we created to get actionable insights on all things related to Chili Publish. Today with me is Ward.
Hi, Bram.
Hi, Ward. Ward is our Chief Product Officer. Today we are going to talk about smart templates and what actually makes them smart. But before we go into that, maybe Ward, can you explain a little bit to the audience what is a Chief Product Officer at Chili Publish?
Well, as Chief Product Officer, I'm heading the product team, and product team's responsibility is to feel what is needed in the market of graphics production, of course, and to translate that into a product which is obviously of value to our customers.
Yeah, and you've seen that job, that role evolving for a while because you've been here for a while with us?
I've been here for a while, yes, I think over 10 years by now. So yes, I've seen the product evolve, I've seen the company evolve to what it is right now. So yeah, that was a very interesting journey.
Super. Well, we'll get to a few more details on the product. Today we want to talk about smart templates. And smart templates, we used to refer to it as the... Well, actually, maybe you can explain what makes a template smart. What is the difference between a template and a smart template?
Well, like you say, maybe start with what a template is. A template in graphics production is a graphic design which contains placeholders for text and images. And these placeholders allow us then to replace the content of that design without having to redesign everything. And obviously that saves us a lot of time. And you could say that this sounds dynamic, right? Because you can replace the content, but in essence, a template is actually quite static. And that poses a couple of problems when we use that concept in the real world. I'll give you some examples maybe. If we communicate in different languages, text statements in, for example, English, French, or German have different lengths.
Yeah, especially indeed, like the French and German is way longer than English.
So either you have templates that are specifically made for these different regions, or you have a smart template that is able to respond to that. And I just mentioned that regions, you also are dealing with different currencies, dollar signs, euro signs, things like that.
Indeed, and that's if you want to communicate globally, you have different currencies, there's different languages, different styles.
So regions are a problem, different languages, different currencies, sizes.
Yeah.
As you know, you're also dealing in communications and marketing with many different sizes. You don't want to have a template for each of these different scenarios. That completely defeats the purpose of working with templates.
Yeah.
There's also business rules. For example, if we show a discount, you might want to use a different color. That color is obviously predefined. We might show a discount in red instead of in orange or yellow. So these kind of things, again, you don't want to have a template for each of these different scenarios because you might end up with 100 templates, and that really completely defeats the purpose of a template. Your ROI completely evaporates if you have to do that.
You mentioned an interesting thing. You don't want to end up with 100 templates. Does that mean you can combine these things into one template?
Indeed, and maybe we should actually take an example here that will make it easier to explain what this is all about.
What would be, if I want to start with a smart template, what would be a first concept that would be a good one to start with?
I have one in front of me, and maybe we can start with the absolute basics, optional content. So, for example, here in this design we have a product shot. Yeah. But not in every communication we want to actually show that product shot. So that's optional content. We could simply say on that one data point, do we want to include a product shot? No, it's automatically removed. As you can see, that template completely transforms. The layout changes, it adapts to that data coming in.
Maybe before, interesting thing, but why would I have optional content? What would be a use case or a scenario where I have optional content?
Exactly this. We do campaigns all the time, and not every campaign is the same. Is actually the same. So what we say to brands, to retailers is prepare your marketing campaigns as building blocks.
Yeah.
And these building blocks are smart templates. And then when we do a campaign, we can simply say, okay, we need to show we have a campaign around a certain product. Okay, does it contain a product shot or is it just a lifestyle image? And on top of that, are we showing a price, yes or no? These are examples of optional content. Depending on our needs, we could say we need this included or that included. Yeah. Could also be regional things in certain regions. We want to show certain elements or not. or channel depending. Like in a print, for a print use case, we will show a QR code. For a digital use case, we don't show the QR code. So that's the really almost basic functionality is optional content.
So you need to think smart also, designing a smart template, then to be able to use these blocks.
Indeed.
So
you need to think ahead of.
It's more than just a designer. You need to.
Indeed.
I think we'll get to that topic in the later episodes. A question on these building blocks. How would these then, because we'll show, you can go into detail, but first want to sketch the big picture. How would they be triggered? How would the end user or where in the workflow would it be triggered to show that optional content, yes or no?
Well, a smart template can be consumed in high level in two different scenarios. So either you present the smart template to a user that needs to create a graphic ad hoc at runtime. So time is of the essence there. That person does not need to go to a designer anymore and brief that designer. He can simply access the template, and then either via a form we can interact with those data points, saying I want a product shot or not, I want to change some of the text statements or text content, or I want to change images, or we have that data already prepared in a file, and we can simply ask a cloud service to render out all these different variants based on that same template in combination with a data set.
Are these two concepts then the self-service part, where an end user chooses, or you could automate it without the user interacting in?
At Chili, we refer to it indeed sometimes as self-service, the one scenario, and then the other scenario, obviously, that's the headless scenario where no human interaction is needed at all.
Okay, super.
And because we are dealing with a smart template, that is actually possible.
Yeah.
Because no matter the data coming in, the template knows how to respond to it.
Yeah. You're going to show something with the optional content.
Well, I've already shown what optional content is about, so we can turn on or off certain elements, like for example a product shot. But it's obviously a smart template needs a lot more than that. Things like adapting to the different sizes of text statements for different languages. For example, here we have a text saying fuel like a pro.
Yeah.
If you would change that, for example, to the best tasting energy drink, then obviously that text statement becomes a lot longer. And a smart template should be able to respond to that. And what you see here, if I actually do that, change it to the best tasting energy
So it's
drink.
not only longer different languages, but it could also be a different statement.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Could be, indeed, different tagline, different message.
Yeah.
And as you can see, a smart template responds to that by automatically shrinking the font size, so that text statement still fits into the design. And of course, we do that in a controlled way, because you don't want that smart template to make it too small. So a smart template should actually know what the smallest font size is that is allowed, what the maximum font size is that is allowed, and is able to interpolate depending on the content coming in.
That would then be the RAND guidelines that are applied in all these settings.
Indeed.
Yeah.
A smart template actually contains your brand guidelines.
Yeah.
So it can respect those whenever it receives input.
You've shown optional content, frames, resizing to different content. Any more concepts that are...
Resizable templates, so a smart template should be resizable. And again here what we have, I can show you is this is a smart template and it can be resized. So if you make that, for example, 400 pixels by 360, you see that it responds, it rearranges the elements, it resizes the elements. If I would go even to more extremes, you see that it even changes the layout. A smart template can contain multiple layout variants and is able to interpolate between these different layouts. So any size can be generated from a single template.
Super. So indeed, but that gets my brain thinking. You need to design really not as on paper with limits. When you go digital, when you have all these variants, you need to think ahead. What will happen if you have a long, tall design or a very wide design or a square design, that it will all fit all these elements.
Indeed, and you name it right. As a designer, you're now focused on designing the extremes, and you let the solution create everything in between.
Yeah.
So it's a different approach, but you are still defining how it should look like at specific extremes, because you want to have that control as a designer. I mean, completely computer-generated visuals don't look as good as what a designer can do. He's still the creative. We still believe that those people should be able to define the look and feel. But then let the machine do the interpolation between, to generate all the different sizes we need in between those extremes.
And I can imagine there will be edge cases where there's like just where you are on the edge of one layout or another one. There's also the concept of scripts. Could this help in setting these exceptions in the layouts, or could you use scripts for something else?
Well, with scripts, so you're referring to adding business logic actions into a template. Yes, of course, these could help, but there's actually a lot more interesting use cases for business logic for actions in a smart template. Could go from formatting incoming data like dates or pricing or whatever, setting up different rules, like for example, if I pick a start date for a certain campaign, then automatically it sets the end date, because we know that, for example, the end date is a campaign runs for 30 days. We can add this kind of logic into a template without the need of a developer, actually.
And you say it knows, probably because we feed it with the data that comes from a PIM system, a DAM system, any kind of system.
Yeah, because the template contains the rules, the logic, and it has these data points. We can connect those data points to external systems like a PIM system, a DAM system, an Excel sheet, could be anything.
So basically the output of the PIM system, the DAM system, all these data points will define how a template behaves and how it will be output to digital or printed channels.
Indeed. If what you need is headless production, you could indeed pull in these different data sources. The data is injected in the template. The template does its magic because it knows your brand guidelines, it knows the different business rules that you set and define in the template, and out comes all the different variants you need. Or you let a human interact with the template and do it at runtime.
You mentioned headless. Is that the same as automated or lights out? Is it same concept?
Indeed.
Yeah. Super. Well, thanks for the great examples. I'm now trying to imagine, what if I'm a business owner? I am a business owner of an agency, or maybe I'm a designer. I want to use smart templates. What's the added value for me to start using smart templates?
Assuming you're already using templates, the difference will be that you're actually using less templates to produce more. If you're not using templates, then you're saving a lot of time, and because obviously you don't have to create all these different variants manually. It can be either ad hoc, enabling other people to produce those graphics, other people than the designer, of course, or completely in a headless manner, producing maybe hundreds, thousands of different variants completely automatically. So it depends on where you are in the template journey. Maybe you're using templates, not smart templates, or maybe you're not using templates. Then you have an even bigger impact, of course.
And it's worth doing the investigation of investing a bit of time in creating a smart template to then see how much more output you can generate.
Indeed.
Well, thank you, Ward, for the great insights, and thank you for being my guest on the very first episode of CHILIpulse. Thank you for listening and joining us, and hope to see you soon in the next episodes. If you liked this episode and you want to get engaged, or you have tips for improvements or changes, please let us know at pulse@chilipublish.com. Also, if you want to be informed of next episodes, please subscribe to the newsletter on the form below.